Kia ora koutou, and welcome to another episode of South Pacific Muscle with one slightly more lively Nate and one going into Tournament of Champions Mike. So probably on different ends of the spectrum a little bit. But Mike, how you been down there?
Yeah, we're pretty good, you know, like finish up a show, have a bit of food. Life's good for a few days, but sort of just starting to deplete back out again now, ready for another load. So yeah, starting to slow down. It's good for a few days though.
Yeah, bro.
How about you, man?
Well,
how you getting on? I saw your video of the leg press, man. Are you back to?
Yeah, well,
look.
No, man. I'm like having a week where I only do, and I'll probably repeat it next week, but only doing straight sets. So no intensity techniques, nothing, just building up. Generally starting at 20 reps, doing 15s, 12s. So probably the lowest I've done is a set of, actually I did a real heavy set today of 6 reps, but well within failure and things. So on the leg press, I just worked up, and my last set was 12 on 400, and I thought that's all right. And you know, I can feel it start, you know, your body, you know, when it starts getting heavy, and I thought, I could probably do a couple more plates, but no, let's just sit on that. And so I've just been doing that.
Have you watched the latest Think Big bodybuilding podcast with Scott McNally and Nate Spears? And
no,
we were talking about what do you do post-show training?
Yep.
And I said, you know, I know a lot of you want to get back in the gym. You are strictly going to the gym to get a pump and show everybody how freaky you are and enjoy just being ripped and full and, you know, just going to pump and show off.
Right.
Not to go on.
Handy, bro.
Give it a rest by just going on and
showing off. And so today on the way to the gym, I was like, fuck, you know, it's sort of a bit different, you know, like going and training when you're off season. And I haven't been for so long, bro. It's been like, you know, pretty much 15 months of dieting. Yeah. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go get a muffin and just have a train and see how freaky I look. Yeah. And so I pulled into the car park and I looked up, and the shop in front of me I'd never seen before. And it was called, I can't remember, Sweet something or other in Havelock. It was a dessert shop. And I went, it's a sign. So I rolled on in.
They got to have muffins in there.
And I was thinking, got to get a muffin. But they didn't have any muffins. But what they did have was a cream-filled donut with a caramel syringe and shit in it. And the syringe looked like a big, dirty syringe full of tren. So I was eating the thing, squirting. Anyway, I went and had a train, and the muffin pump is for real, man. I had a sick pump.
You need to get follow Jamie the Giant. You know, he's got pizza games, right? You want call it the muffin pump or the muffin games?
Oh, look, it's muffin pumps well established, man. It's been around for a while. Yeah. Hey, I just want to show this off too. Look, I got this.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you got one. Yeah, good.
So Team Rhino, shout out Lisa Bailey Smith. They've given away hundreds of these shirts. Just like there's a story behind it to do with being in Thailand, and there's a whole background like feeding these rhinos and women bodybuilders being as rare as rhinoceroses and things. So the tattoo artist was playing around and used her body and whacked a rhino head on it, and somehow that was how it came. So that was kind of cool. So I felt really privileged to have that.
Yeah, they gave me one in Christchurch. It was really nice of them. Yeah. I had it for a while until Delane decided she wanted to use it as her sleeping t-shirt, her night dress. So
it's actually a real nice fabric for that too. So I can imagine.
Yeah, it is. It is a nice fabric for that. But I can't have any nice stuff.
No, of course not. I'll just take it. So I have to tell a story. So I went in and I got my bloods done. My bloods were fine. My doctor over in Sydney checked them all off, and he was like, "Yeah, happy man, go get your jab." And so I rolled in for my jab today.
About your
my COVID jab, yep. So I was sitting there waiting, and this guy walked out, and he kind of walked with a bit of a thing, and I thought, oh, this guy's got cerebral palsy or some shit. And then I looked at him and went, he ain't got palsy, man. It's like he's almost just smacked back a big hit of heroin, and his body's not keeping up with his legs, and and then he fucking went down, and I just realized he was the guy that got the COVID shot while I was waiting. And the nurse was holding his head up, and she yelled out, "Can I get some adrenaline?" And they came in with the adrenaline, and I'm sitting there thinking,
was it Pulp Fiction like? Pulp Fiction stabbed it straight in the heart?
No. Anyway, and I was sort of sitting there going, fuck, I've got to go next. And I'm like, what's the chances? You know, it can't happen fucking twice in a row. And I'm thinking the odds are good. Fucking, this guy's had a shit day, but thank you for taking one for the team, my man. You're the real MVP. Yeah, and I'm like,
one further up the queue, you might have got it.
And I'm kind of like, I'm going to hell for thinking that. So I actually was sitting there and I thought, actually, fuck this. I went up to the counter and went, oh, look, I've had to think about it and fuck that. And I grabbed it out of the shop and I'm sitting in the car going, fuck, okay, got to go. Started the car, jammed, put it in reverse. I started backing out, thought, better look at my rearview mirror. Holy shit, jammed on the brakes. I almost ran the motherfucker over putting him in the stretcher, putting him in the ambulance, and I almost hit him by like about a foot. And I'm like, that would have been a real shit day for that guy. Yeah. So anyway, I was like, I know I need to get the shot, man. Like, my desire to go out partying and doing festivals absolutely outweighs my fear of death at this point. And so I went to the wisest person I know with the most worldly experience. And I said to my 16-year-old son, what do you reckon, man? And he goes, yeah, man, the statistics of it happening twice are really low. Just fucking do it. And then his mum pipes up and goes, yeah, and you should go back to the same place because it'd probably be even a lower statistic. And I'm going, fuck, it'd be horrific. So I went back to the same place. The lady goes, oh, you're back. And I went, yeah. So I went in to get the shot. And I said, can I have an EpiPen first? And they were laughing at me. And she goes, oh, are you allergic to anything? And I said, look, before you start, I want to know, did you take that vaccine out of a new vial? Because that motherfucker's one was bunk as shit. And she's like, yes, it's a new vial. And I said, look, can you stick it in my rear delt? My medial's got too much scar tissue. And she goes, any muscle's good. And jabbed it in my rear delt. And fuck, I was in and out and walked out and I'm feeling fine. So I've got my first.
I think we should explain the limits of our medical and scientific understanding so we're not spreading misinformation. I don't know if you can have a bunk vial.
Oh, absolutely. I was joking, bro.
It's just got to be clear, you know.
Yeah.
It might be expensive to be anti-vax or something.
The absolute cynicism. I was just being cheeky and having a fucking laugh because it was quite a, I guess, a serious situation, and it's never nice to see someone going through that kind of thing. But you know, I'm if you don't laugh, what do you do? You know. So like they knew I was joking, and they had a bit of a laugh. I think maybe she didn't, but I was certainly only joking. And if she took it the wrong way, then I don't give a fuck. But you know, like, look, I'm neither pro-vax or anti-vax. I'm like, if you want it, fucking get it, you know, and make your choices. Think about your health, think about what freedoms you want and what you don't want, and make the decision. I've got it, and I'll get my second one, and then we'll be away fucking laughing. So anyway, that's enough of the COVID thing. Mike, talk to us about South Island Champs, NZIFBB, your experience personally, the show. It was a show that was run under some pretty tough conditions, and kudos to Sheena Jane and the team down there, Jamil, Steve Orden, all those NZIFBB people down that end of the country, for actually running that, and Mo for, you know, making it happen. So big thank you firstly. Mike, how was it?
Yeah, look, we were just stoked to have a show, you know, to go potentially 14 weeks and then have no show to kind of finish up. You don't do all that for a photo shoot, you know, so it was awesome, and we really appreciate them kind of getting it together. There were a few people from around the country kind of had come in to kind of help out too, that obviously weren't locked down. I thought it was, you know, really efficiently run. We started at midday, we're done by 4. I think there was there 60 athletes, 64 athletes, so they got them through pretty quick and really well organised, and you know, the areas were all sorted, and your helpers there sort of glazing you up, and kind of your timings were pretty good as far as getting on. And so yeah, it was a pretty smoothly run show. It's pretty good. From me personally though, I always, well, I came second in the classic class C and second in the over 50s bodybuilding. So as far as sort of process goes, I always sort of think about the prep and things on the way to the show, so I'm not coloured by the result. And I was just stoked, David. You know, like everything had come together really, really nicely. I was in the best condition I've been in. I've come away with some work-ons too, so that's really good too. So I've got some tweaks I can make for Tournament of Champions, but I was sort of over the moon with sort of the way things had gone. right through. So, and, Kurt was very present, over the last couple of days. It was, was checking 3 times a day and sort of making tweaks and things. And, I think I said on the podcast one time that I was playing chicken with him, just about suggesting a cheat meal.
Yeah.
And he didn't know I was playing chicken. So he was, but I'm not gonna be the first one to suggest it. I'm not gonna be. And sure enough, he was. It took 13 weeks and 6 days. So it was the night before. He goes, how are you feeling? Well, I'm dry and I'm sort of filling up, but I'm not full. Right. If we try and fill you up with rice, it'll just bloat you out. Go and have a couple of cheeseburgers, fries, and a muffin. I'm like, yes. So went and did that. Got a bit fuller, but you probably could do to be fuller still. So, but yeah, look, I was. Some of the photos are pretty good. I was pretty dry, pretty separated. Like I was, as I kind of look at it, I go, well, I'm no Nate Williams. So,
but, well, out of here. There you go.
Well,
fuck, that's pretty good, bro.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking good, bro. I like it.
I'm pretty pleased with it,
Yeah, bro.
I always liked classic, and I wanted to kind of look pretty classic. I wanted to kind of be buried in May, And it's like there's some definitely being so tall. There's still some area to fill out.
Yeah.
But even as a classic, I'm still 10 kilos under the limit for classic. So we've got a bit of room to grow even to be in that. So yeah, just rookie mistake. I didn't put my trunks on. I was only afterwards I looked at the video and went, oh fuck, I didn't put my trunks on. Yeah, look, I met some really cool people there, and I went in kind of going, now, like interact with people, kind of meet people, like people. But I'm a kind of I get in my own head a little bit. So when I'm preparing for a show, I'm just kind of going through my process. And I wanted to sort of apologise if I sort of seemed aloof or sort of distant to anybody I spoke to over at the show. It was afterwards that I kind of got chatting to both the 2 guys that beat me, actually, Luciano, Life of Louis, and he was saying he was we got chatting about whatever, and I said, oh, you do a podcast? He goes, oh, what's that? And I said, oh, South Pacific Muscle. He goes, oh man, I listened to that. I kind of picked up on that, like partway through my prep, and I've gone back and listened to all the back episodes. And I'm like, is that you? And I go, yeah. So, but
that's hilarious. That's awesome.
Yeah, and
hey, just on your thing about being aloof, I think you did pretty well, bro, because I went there and put my headphones on and found a couch and I slept. And I fell asleep and I just chilled out and I didn't talk to a single person really at the show until the night show was like, I'd done my class in the night show and we're waiting for overall. Then I went round and spoke to everyone because, I had a job, I had to conserve energy.
I was pretty similar, I guess, in that it was a 1-show format.
Yep.
So I got chatting to Louis and I got Luciano and I got chatting to Wok, who beat me in over 50s bodybuilding. Man, that dude's got some thick muscle, dude. He's quite short, but man, he was like good shape and he was thick,
Got big legs,
eh? He was
got big legs, man.
He was saying how he followed us through the prep and he was looking forward to the prep files coming out each week because I'm like, man, like those are must be the 2 people in the country that listen to us. I just bumped into both of them, but it just kind of made me feel, really blessed that anybody actually gives a shit. Yep. And maybe that we've sort of helped a few people along the way with sort of our observations of prep and that sort of thing. So, it just made me feel all warm and fuzzy,
Cool.
So maybe come back kind of, when I got back, go, let's rip into a bit more podcasting, and you're kind of like, I'm a bit over bodybuilding. So let's dial it back a little bit. So we're in different places a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not really. I'm just at the moment really because when I say I'm kind of not that focused on bodybuilding, I've trained 5 days in a row. Yeah. And so, I'm not that focused on bodybuilding, but I'm that focused on bodybuilding.
I know what you mean in that at the moment, because I'm still in it, every waking moment. Yeah. So if you can go down to half your time thinking about bodybuilding, then you've got all this free time. You're winning, So
yeah, 100%. Some of the observations from Christchurch that I got, I was getting a few messages back and forward, and one of my good friends here, I won't name him, but he messaged me and goes, I just met Steve Auden. Fuck, he's huge. So Steve Auden, people You know, the guys that have never met Steve or don't know Steve from when Steve was at his prime, that saw him at the show were like pretty mind blowing. And I said, "Oh, look, man, you want to see when he's at his absolute best? He's just lethal." So that was kind of cool. I got some really good feedback on tans. So, you know, like one of the criticisms of NZIFBB is always about their tans, but their tans, from what I saw, look really good, and from the feedback I got from people, was really good. So that's really cool to see that we are getting some consistency there, so athletes can show their best off.
As much as you know, you're having personal choice taken away from you as to, you know, how you colour yourself, man, it makes it so easy. Yeah. Like, it's included with your injury, your show day tan. You can buy the base tan if you want. So we just did both, and it's like line up. Oh yeah. So lining up for tan the night before.
I had to pay another 140 bucks for my tan, bro. On top of yeah. I was like,
we were $50 for the tan the day before, and $50 included for our show.
That's fucking not bad, bro. Yeah. Anyway, Dom.
So while I was waiting for my tan the night before, like, all the girls went through, and then like I was waiting a couple of hours. Oh, by the way, while I was waiting, met Sheena's boyfriend. Met hell of a nice guy. So just want to put it out there, Simon, real nice guy.
Yeah, cool.
And waiting for the tans, and then we finally move in, and there's some couches sitting there, and I start chatting to people either side. And Dom's sitting next to me. He goes, "Oh, can I get a photo with you?" I'm like, okay, sure. He goes, "You're the first real bodybuilder I ever saw in real life."
Wow.
I went to the 2019 NABBA South Island, and I saw you and your wife, and you're the first real bodybuilders I've ever seen. And I was sitting there going, real bodybuilder might be a little bit of a stretch there, Dom, especially that first comeback year. You know, it wasn't very big, but I mean, that's how he viewed it, and it was like real nice.
Look,
he's come on in 2 years to win the overall.
Hey, that's a very similar experience to what I had, because I was on stage with my man Ephraim, so Big E from out in Flaxmere, and I met him when he must have been late teenager, early 20s, and he was a really good league player, and he just started doing weight. Like, he'd been training weights for a long time because his old man owned the gym, but he just started sort of more bodybuilding training, and he was having to think about it and wanted to do it. And I said, "Well, come out and I'll show you how to pose." So he got out there and I showed him how to pose, the first time ever posing. And I was just looking at him going, fuck, this guy's just got so much potential. And his muscle was so bubbly in 3D. And anyway, he said to me a few years later, he said, "Oh, look, bro, you know, you were really inspiring for me from, you know, your condition. And I always looked up to you," and, you know, like that kind of thing. And I went, that's funny, because I always looked at you and I was, you know, like, fuck, you just got this amazing muscle. But anyway, we got to be on stage together after all that time, as, you know, me meeting him when I was probably at my last sort of stage of competing before I had a bit of a shutdown. And finally, the boys got on stage together. It was a lot of fun. It was cool.
And was his muscle more bubbly and round than yours, and were you more shredded than him? Yep. So nothing much changed in 6 years.
Nah. But I look at him and just go, "Look, man, if we can get you peeled, no one's touching you, man."
A couple got like workmate, old training partner, a couple of people at the gym go, "Man, you know, like, you look unreal. You know, you've got such a shape." I said, "Well, this isn't, you know, anything that anybody else can't do." And look, you know, there's still room for improvement, you know, blah, blah, blah. But man, I've spoke with how the condition I got in.
Yeah, people said
it's not something.
You know, like, people said the same to me. They said, "Look, you know, your condition you're the best conditioned athlete on the stage." And I just looked and said, when being peeled is all you've got, you fucking play that card, and you play that card hard, because you know, I can't get that bubbly 3D muscle look, but I can get peeled and dry. And they were like, "Oh yeah, now that you think about it, it's like it's real easy. I've got one thing I have to concentrate on, getting peeled, because I'm just not going to ever be a freak." So, you know, I think, you know, but people do hold that conditioning in a certain light, you know, like it's almost like most people in the game know how hard you've suffered to achieve that. So that's probably...
as a judge, I always valued condition, just because it had shown someone to put the work in.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I value it in my own physique as well. Which brings me to, I guess, the next goal for next week. You know, I'm going to go away from that a little bit. I doubt that I'll get any fatter. I doubt that I'll lose condition, but I'm going to go for a much fuller look. So I guess there's a risk of spilling over. So I'm hoping to be a bit rounder and fuller.
Just make sure your belly's not rounder from overcarbing.
Yeah.
That's the danger, bro. Like, you know.
Oh, look, I'm pretty sure people will be all over it.
Yeah. Just watch it though.
He nailed it. He nailed it last week, right? We were both on the same page that we were going to be conservative with our carb up and come in as pure as we could, as conditioned as we could, and so that's what we did. And now we're going to try and push the boat out a little bit. I'm
gonna throw something really controversial into our podcast, because one of the boys at the gym that saw you in the comp said the only thing I could critique about Mike was that when he transitioned, he let his gut go and it looked fucking, you know, and he said add on his side tricep. And he said, but other than that, and he goes, that is such a small criticism. He said, his condition was fantastic. I like the way he looked on stage. His shape looked good. So I'm really looking for things to pick at.
It's funny you should say that, because that's exactly what I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 days, because that was the feedback I got elsewhere as well. Yeah. So training abs twice a day and spending my whole time walking around the gym, rounds and rounds of posing, holding, you know, concentrating on holding my stomach in. And now that I start doing it, I realised I wasn't doing it.
Put a waist trainer on, bro. Put a waist trainer on.
Thing is, my midsection has always been pretty strong. My abs are pretty separated and deep, and they look great.
Not about that.
Now it's when I get into a pose, they look great. But yeah, I wasn't holding them in between.
The waist trainer, if you wear a waist trainer, it will teach you to constantly keep your abs
I don't know.
tight.
I've got one.
It's just like having. It's just like having, like, every time you breathe out through your gut, someone tapping you on the stomach, going, pull your fucking gut in. So to me, it's a coaching tool more than anything else, because it gives you feedback straight away. You relax your stomach, you feel the pressure. Okay, got to tighten up again. And worth a try anyway.
When I started prepping, I kind of like had this goal of, you know, I want to be on stage at 105, pretty lean. Yeah. And I realised I was delusional along the way, because, you know, that's not far off what Chris Bumstead is with the same height, and that's about, you know, that's only 4 kilos off the weight cap. So I came in at about 99. But I'm looking to come in a couple of kilos heavier. But if I can hold the midsection, you know, tight the whole time, and come in a couple of kilos fuller, I'll still have pretty good condition. You know, I'm pretty excited to kind of have a crack at it.
Are you going to carb early and carb high, and then pull your carbs back just before?
We're gonna, well, what we did last time was pretty much that, but the amounts were lower. So it's still, you know, essentially Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'll carb up, but it was 450 grams a day. Now it's 750 grams a day for those first couple of days, and then a bit less on the third day. But then playing by ear, you know.
Yeah. I guess you won't be throwing a dirty cheat in the end either at this point, because not with that increase in carbs, because that would make you look like a pile of dog shit.
You know how analytical I can be, a bit over the top, but I wrote down last carb ups I did, I wrote down everything I ate, you know, how much fluid I drank up at that point, every time I took a piss, and scribbled down the side notes on how I felt. I did 850 grams the first day. I did 650 grams the second day, and I felt right between about 10 and midday on the third day, and I probably had about sort of 200 to 300 grams of carbs in that. So that's what, 1700 grams over 2.5 days. So, you know, I can push a lot of carbs, and I've probably got more muscle now than I had then. So we'll still be playing it by ear along the way. And
I love your preciseness in recording and stuff, because I'm actually the opposite. Like, I got to stage and Jordan would say, send me photos at 8 a.m. and I'd wake up and I'd be like, it's 8 a.m. Bro, fuck this, it's cold outside, I'm not doing photos. And I just wouldn't send them. And like, I wouldn't send them because I knew that I was where I needed to be and what I needed to look like. And I said, bro, I'll send you photos after meal too. And he's like, yeah, that's fine, as long as, how's it looking? I'm like, yeah. And then I'd send him photos, and he'd go, spot on, let's just carry on to plan. And, you know, in the end, like, we were back and forward quite a bit, but in the end, we kind of just chilled out a bit more, and it was just easy coaching relationship, bro. And, you know, like you, I was very very happy with what I got. But I'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay. I try not to be, get too flustered and like want to kind of keep, what about this, what about this, what about this? Just do as you're told, trust the process in it. And it was pretty good. So I enjoyed that. Yeah. Enjoyed the de-stressing of not having to, worry too much about that. So we went up there on the Friday, and so we had all day Saturday just chilling out and alone with the Kmart, and it was a pretty good way to kind of to do it, just carving up and posing and sending pictures off the curtain and that sort of thing. So it was really good. Yeah. Who else did I have that I wanted to talk about?
The other bit of feedback I got on the show was the men's physique competitor. Apparently, when he came out, the crowd just went, "Wow!" Wu Tong Yang.
Okay.
So I don't know if you saw him in the men's physique, but the guy that was at the show when I was talking to him, he said when he came out, he goes, he had delts like blah, and he just like stood there, and the crowd went. Oh. So I'd love to see some really good photos of him, because apparently he's a real class act. So probably someone to watch out for in the future.
I spoke to quite a few people that just keen to come on and have a yarn. So we could turn it into a rotating bro chat, or just have some people on to sort of have a bit of a yarn. Yep. Luciano's keen to come on, and I spoke to Donna Randall. She was down there competing, come down from up north, and Nigel, but they wouldn't let other people backstage, so it's just the competitors. So she kind of hung out beside us, and then right at the end when we were all done, went out sort of Nigel popped in for a chat. It was good of them to come all the way down. It was cool. Big ass. She's been prepping kind of for a while too, so glad to get a show, and glad that Tournament of Champions going ahead. We sort of waited till the Tuesday to find out, and I knew if anybody could pull it off, Shane could pull it off. And so stoked that's going ahead. So we'll sort of all go for that. Give us going. What am I looking at? Delane showing me a picture of the men's physique guy. Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, she just destroyed my flow there a little bit.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. I'll give you a break so you can have a think about where you're at. I'll do a quick catch up on Palmy. So I guess I'll nail my bit off first. I got on stage. I looked exactly how I wanted to look 15 months ago. I wanted to be the most conditioned athlete on stage, and I think I was pretty comfortably that. Like we started with a bunch of fucking plasticine with fluff in it, and we picked the fucking fluff out and we got most of the plasticine. So the muscle I had was about as much as I was ever going to have. My condition was as good as it was ever going to get, and I was dry as shit on both the morning and the night. And got the win in the open men's, and then got pipped by Johnny Walsh in the overall for Mr. New Zealand. So couldn't lose to a nicer guy. Like Johnny, he was so fucking funny, man. Like backstage, we were fucking talking and having a bit of a dance, and fucking he, real keen. He wanted to stick his head out the side to watch the other competitors, and like real enthusiastic. And I'm just like, fuck, I like this guy, man. If I lose to someone, this is my man. So Johnny, was wicked to see you here again. He was 125 kilos, and he was down to his lowest ever. He was 80 on stage.
Yeah, he's not very tall, is he?
No. And like I looked at it and had a look at some of the photos, and like I think I fucking cleaned him up on a couple of shots. There were a couple of shots that he cleaned me up on, and there were a couple that could have gone either way. And I sort of looked at it and went, I can make a case for me winning, a case for him winning. But given he's an international competitor and he's been around, he's been a champion before, and he's got a look they like. Yeah, absolutely, man. That's what I thought. To win that, I had to leave no question in the judges' minds. I didn't do that, and I absolutely accepted that Johnny won that comp. So good on you, Johnny, man. It was a cool battle, man. I had a lot of fun, and as I say, my condition was as good as it could be on the day. So I was really happy. I walked away, none of this silly fucking competitive crap. I was just like, that was really cool. And it was a cool show. My mate Craig won the overall athletic Mr. New Zealand.
Nice.
Gina McNeely won her class. Lisa Bailey Smith was awesome. I mean, she is a class act. Oh well, like I posed with her, and I would have to say her delts and arms are better than mine. You know, like I was just like, wow, she looked phenomenal. And
don't sound so surprised, mate.
It was great. It was really good, and I got a really nice photo doing a side chest with her, and it looked fucking amazing. And it was really cool. Got to talk to them, and their aim, you know, Dave and Lisa are talking about going to the universe over in Germany, which sounds really exciting. Going to Miss Universe in Germany. I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. So, you know, it was really good to see. Is it Elijah? He won the board shorts again, Mr. Body board shorts. So I think it's a 3rd year running. He beat my mate Lawrence, who's coached by Darren Dingle. Lawrence looked amazing too.
So I met him last year. I think it was his first year competing. Yeah, met him sort of registering for the show, and he'd done a show, ICN show about 3 weeks earlier, and it was a second show, and so we got yakking about. And yeah, follow him on Instagram. He's put on some size, eh?
He's looking really good, and for a men's physique, you know, he's wider across the shoulders than me, and I'm like, shit, you're getting wide, bro. He's just good arms.
As a frame of reference, she's got
bigger
arms than me. Wider shoulders than me.
I always kind of like, you know, it's a yardstick. If someone's got, you know, significantly wider than me, then I know they're kind of a big guy, you know, like and for a men's physique guy to be like that, you just look at him and go, wow, that's a neat, it's just a really good structure to hang some muscle off.
No disrespect to anybody. He says just as he's about to disrespect people. Sorry, no, I don't mean it that way, but it's very rare that I see anybody that I go, wow, he's big.
Yeah.
Because they're usually shorter than me.
Yeah.
And often they're 5'9" in the same weight as me, which makes them really fucking big. But I don't have that sense of overwhelming size, you know.
Maybe I've got a bit of Napoleon complex or something, being a 5'9" guy. Like anyone who's kind of big, I'm like, they're big, whereas you just look at them and go, another short person.
Although for a while there, when I was playing basketball when I was younger and bouncing, I thought that I was short because I was around basketball, and I thought I was small because I was around massive bouncers. So I thought I was short and small when I was 6'1", 120 kilos.
I'll tell you what will give you a really good perspective lesson is go out and have breakfast with the guys that do World's Strongest Man. And you
I've
just
seen that photo of you and Zavickas.
Yeah, I know. And I'm just like, man, I'm a boy. So other than that, just quickly, the Palmy show was a really well-run show. The athletes were all amazing. Like, just really, it's a
nice feel, eh? NABBA shows have a nice feel about them, sort of a family feel.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. And went out for dinner with Jim and Marion and all the crew. And that was really nice. It was really good. The highlight of it was having my mum and dad and Xavier there. He was my right-hand man. I made him shave my fucking back. I was like, there's some things that we just got to do, bro. It's like wrapping your hands in an MMA fight. You got to shave my back. But no, he helped out. He took lots of videos. He took the photos for Jordan. And so thank you, Zaves, for your support, man. It means a lot to me. Other than that, really, it's nice to be out the other side. I'm enjoying focusing on some other things. I've done a lot of things that I've put off for a long time. So like I'm ticking off stuff and getting...
Already, it's only been
6
days. 6 days.
Yeah, man, I've got a list. It's like 2 pages and I've ticked off probably three quarters of a page.
When you got some carbs.
Yeah, and just having time to focus on other stuff. So yeah, other than that, I've just been hanging out at the beach. I went down the beach after having a bit of a feed, and I still had my stage tan on, and the veins were going. I was like some oddity walking down the beach. Shout out to Haley and Neeson and Alex that are just staying down the camping ground. So I've got a couple of friends that are out here tenting out and stuff, and been catching up with them. And it's been really nice, just being a bit more normal and doing a few things other than bodybuilding stuff. So
yeah, it's a wonder you remember how after 15 months.
I had my first, and I've termed it because I like making up terms and shit. So I called it post-show adjustment anxiety. And so what that was me going, all right, I'm going to go into town and train. But actually, after I train, I might go and do something. I might go see some people, and I might even stay in town the night. And then I went, oh fuck, I've never not come straight home after the gym to eat. And I was like, oh, but I can go to the supermarket and get a protein bar or some chicken and some rice. Everything's good. And I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. But it was kind of weird, and I kind of realized that you can't eat a prep diet for a long period of time and be really rigid in all your routines and your training and your times, like, absolutely like a soldier, and then come out the other side and expect not to have any food issues or routine issues. But I guess, like acknowledging that you kind of felt a bit strange, it sort of mitigates that a lot. And to talk about it, I'm like, yeah, okay, man, I can deal with this. This shit's easy. I'm just adjusting to normal life. So I'm enjoying it. But yeah.
One of the earlier preps, I remember, either last year or the year before, I can't remember, but I come back from wherever Nationals or the show, gone, oh, sweet, I don't have to prep my food, I don't have to take, so I just grabbed a bag of Uncle Ben's rice and a tin of tuna, and off I went to work. By 9 o'clock, I'm starving because that's normally my second meal, and I'm like, scratching around for, muesli bars and shit in the drawer, so.
I haven't gone loose, man. I've had probably every 2 or 3 days I have a treat food. I have a little bit more fat in my evening meal, but other than that, I'm still eating prep food, but on very increased, more of it. So so me saying I'm not bodybuilding means I'm still well up over 80%. So it's good.
And what I was explaining to people, like if you're cruising along here and you weren't, but like you're cruising along here and you take it to there through a prep, you bring it back down to here and it seems easy, but it's still way better than what you're doing before. You're still way more focused, way more structured, training harder, making better progress.
Yeah. And I've made some choices too after the show. Like I went out afterwards and I wanted to have a beer. And so we went out and had a beer, and they had Asahi, my favorite beer. And I hadn't had a beer since the 5th of January. It was the last time I had a beer. And I probably had 10 beers in the 6 months before that. And so I got this big cold Asahi, and I drank it. And I went, anyone want another one? Yep, just got another one, and at least got a glass of wine. And we were finishing that, and Zaves was with us, and I said to Zave, what do you want to drink? He goes, I have what you're having. So he had a beer, and he goes, he just wanted one, and that was it. He was sitting out on it. And then I looked at Lisa, and they said, do you guys want one more? We looked at each other, and she went, shall we? And I went, yep. So I had 3 beers, and the next day when I got home, there was a beer that I'd had sitting in my fridge for the last 4 months, and it was a really nice craft beer. So I had that, and then I went, you know what? I'm not going to drink it anymore. Like the Asahi I didn't enjoy it. My palate had obviously changed through dieting, because a lot of those, I guess the treat foods that I had didn't taste how I expected them to taste. Like this, the savory stuff's been pretty good, but the sweet stuff, the majority of it, bar that massive donut I had today, the majority of it's tasted quite chemically. Like I had some chocolate, and I went, oh, this is, and it's not that it's not good chocolate, it's just that my palate's changed and my taste buds obviously a bit out of whack. So so I kind of thought, I'm not going to have a lot of beer, or I'm not probably going to drink at all, but more so, I'm not going to have a lot of junk food, because I just figure that you've got this. You're going to tell me about your drive home. Tell me about the drive home.
So like rookie mistakes. I'll give you the rookie mistake first. I should have gone and chopped a couple of litres of Powerade.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I was just drinking my water like normal. And I hadn't really dehydrated, but I was pretty dry.
Yeah. And
went out for Mexican food, and it was good, real good. They mucked up our order and bought extra chicken nachos. I'm like, just leave it.
Yeah, I've got this. I can fucking deal with this.
Enchilada, tacos, and I filled myself full of this Mexican food. It wasn't super fatty or greasy. It wasn't, ton of cheese or anything like that. But I was full, and I'm dehydrated, so I'm trying to drink water, but my stomach's full, and the food's taking ages to go through. Like if I'd had Powerade, it would have been gone in half an hour, and I could have eaten all I wanted, but I'd be rehydrated. So yeah, no good. So all that night I was a bit headachy and wasn't sleeping very well and that. And I was still full of food. And so I got up and had in the morning had some oats and whey, decent. And then we went out for breakfast, eggs Benedict, and on the way home stopped at this cafe and on the turn off to Waimiri. Got all this amazing cabinet food. And of course, it was right there in front of you. So I'm going, I'll take that, and I'll take one of those, and I'll take that, and I'll have a milkshake. And so again, just stuffed myself full.
Did you take a few roadies with you, bro? A couple for on the road.
Actually, did. There was one I couldn't quite finish. So I had to take.
Love it.
Again, full and not able to kind of get enough water, and so I'm still quite dehydrated. So we decided we're going to have a meal with the kids when we got home, just to kind of show them that we do eat and have a meal with them. Still couldn't get enough water in. So I do some marking and that before I went back to school the next day. But it was only when I got up on Tuesday morning and jumped on the bike for my fasted cardio to try and deplete some of that crap back out again, that I chopped a litre of water, through the 45-minute cardio and started to rehydrate. And by Tuesday night, I was sort of coming right, and Wednesday I was fine, but I should have just got the fluid in first.
Because, and this is probably more a reflection of how I tell stories and how you do, but I often omit that quite important facts, and I'm sitting here thinking, was there any bourbon involved in this dehydration?
There was none.
Oh, wow.
I bought a beer at the Mexican restaurant. Only drank half of it, but was getting food in.
Because one of the boys at the show offered me vodka at the show, and I went, not a shit show, because I'm going to walk out on stage hammered and say, you know what the problem with you fuckers are? And so I didn't. But then I talked to my mate that was competing, and in between the morning show and the night show, he goes, I had 4 bourbons. And I was like, oh my God, I'd be trolleyed, but obviously it dried them out really well. But I can't do that, man. I just can't do that.
We were drinking a little bit of red wine backstage, but just straight from the bottle because we didn't have glass in there.
Classy.
Yeah. Well, it was one of those gangster ones, like Snoop Dogg owns a winery.
Ooh, yeah.
And so they're each got different kind of gangster, whatever. Like this one, and it was the Cali Reed or something with Snoop Dogg on it.
I'm going to look this up. I'm just going to.
It probably wasn't so bad drinking it from the bottle because it was that.
Yeah.
19 crimes.
What's it called?
19 crimes, apparently.
Incorrect labels.
Let's have a look, eh? Oh, yeah, cool. Beautiful image there.
There you go. Where's the one with Snoop Dogg on it?
I'm looking.
That was, so yeah, we drinking a bottle of that, so it probably wasn't as bad drinking it from straight from the bottle because it was that stuff, Cali Red with Snoop Dogg on it, We've sort of poured a bit out on the pavement or something, for our kids.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I like it.
Apparently, interactive labels. You can get an app and it tells the story or something.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm back. So yeah, that's another thing I guess I wanted to say is that I thought about this and I cracked a few times. Like, in the end, it probably didn't make a difference. Yeah. But I always thought that I was so mentally strong, rock hard, and a couple of times I cracked, and I overdid it on the way back on the food. I never lied to Kurt once though. Like I always was, like at my check-ins, I said, I lost it. I ate 4 muffins last night at 1 o'clock in the morning. Right. Yeah. Speaking of which, that was a bizarre experience because I was
4. Did you eat 4 of them? Because you told me 1. You told me you ate a muffin. I've got the text still. You said, I had a hot chocolate, a sugar-free one, and I had a muffin. I had 4.
I had 4 muffins.
Good man.
So I get up in the morning and I test my blood glucose every morning, right? Just, off season, you can kind of see if your insulin sensitivity is good and with your process. My blood sugar was 6.8 or something, over 6 is diabetic. So I'm like, oh shit, right. So we got on the bike and the first 30 minutes, I was like, this is awesome. It felt so good. And then I really kind of crashed and got off, went upstairs and went, I don't know what blood sugar is now. So checked and that was 3.1. Yeah. So I better go and have my breakfast. So yeah, just all over the shop. I didn't do that. Like I probably, 2 or 3 times I kind of cracked and lost it, but I was just really open with Kurt because he needed to. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to sneak around behind his back to, not telling him stuff.
Doesn't benefit anyone, does it? When
better information you can give, so, but I was kind of really disappointed in myself. And it's taken, I haven't really sort of depleted back out again. I just started today, and I've got 3 low days coming up before I start loading. And I just went, right, I've just got to be 100% rock solid from here on in, because that's all I can do. I can't change what's happened in the past. And it may or may not have made a difference. Like, there was times I was so depleted, fuck, a couple of muffins, you know, neither here nor there. I'm still fit, you know. Like, but does 3 muffins matter? With 4, how about 5? With 6, man, how many would you have to have for it to matter? So the best thing is they're none.
There's actually probably a number there that actually may have even benefited you. Not that I would do it, because I'm that robot mentality of what it is.
Well, I thought I was too, you know. Obviously not.
Yeah. But look, hey, it is what it is, man. And you got to focus on what you can change, which is only stuff going forward. So, look, hey,
I was pretty good. I worked pretty hard, and I was wondering about a couple of guys at the gym yesterday. Josh was there, and I went over and said, "You guys better hope you're still around when I get pumped enough to take this t-shirt off, because I look fucking freaky." And so I got pumped. I was doing back, and I got pumped, and they go, whatever. They go, "Yeah, man, you look sick." And then later on, I'm doing some curls, and I'm like cross-straighted across here, and veins sticking out. And I went over and said, "Just when you thought it couldn't get any more freaky," and I do. Right, so
here's my muffin pump today, Mike. So, I thought, sort of rolled into the gym, did a bit of an arm session. It was a pretty lazy arm session, I've got to admit. But I got my muffin.
That's what it's for. The first week after, just go in there and fuck around.
So, Sweet Flamingo, little dessert shop. If you're in Havelock North, go check it out. Really good. But this is post Sweet Flamingo. I came out with some kind of got a bit of a pump on, so I was pretty happy with that. You can see the big shit-eating grin, because I've just eaten a ton of caramel sauce and stuff. So I'm a happy camper. But the muffin pump is real. There you go.
Yeah.
Right, hey, we better cut it out,
We've
guys.
been going, just bleating on and bleating on.
But it's been fun. I've really enjoyed it. So.
I want to, like I said to you, I've met a few of the people that listen to or have watched the show, and man, just so blessed, and so thanks to anybody that gives a shit about anything that we say. But it's a bit surprising at times, but I hope you've enjoyed and been entertained.
Okay, guys, you stay safe out there. Do what you got to do. Get in that gym. Smash some weights, man. And for those that are competing, Tournament of Champions, boom, let's go. Okay, guys, take care.